Hello and welcome to Hide and Seek. I'm Jacqueline Kane, your host for today with my friends Sunshine Lane and Alana Heim. Sorry, I had a little mind cramp there. And today our topic is inner critic silence, overcoming self-criticism. And we just like to offer some insight on ways to release these huge energetic patterns inside of us so that you can relax your nervous system, become more aligned with your heart's desires, and attract the life you desire. So let's go around. Alana, would you like to share who you are and what you do?
Yes. Hello. Hello. My name's Alana Heim. My business is Prosperity Alignment. And what I've recognized is that prosperity is not an external aspect, it's an internal being essence. And when you can really tap into your own being in the way of your water and color and sound and intention, and really bringing all these energies into that oneness and cohesive coherence, your prosperity just shines.
And skyrockets. Yes. And Miss Sunshine.
Hello, thank you for having me here today. I am Sunshine, and I'm from Infinity Soul Connection. I'm an international medium, energy healer, spiritual life coach, and author, and I love what I do. I always channel from spirit, and I love working with souls here and spirit and souls above. And I feel that, when we are living from our true essence, our soul, like our soul self, and having this human experience, everything just kind of, when our perception changes and we understand everything is interweaved and connected, then everything kind of what isn't through a pure love and um, for our highest good and kind of falls away, right? We start understanding in a different way and living in a different being, like Alana had just mentioned. So I absolutely love what I do. And it's not me. I don't look at it me when I'm working with an individual, me doing the work or being like a healer. It's actually your soul and following your intuition and booking that session and coming in or meeting with us online and doing that work that your soul is calling for. And not always we can hear of different healing modalities. I work with the soul, and I could miss so many different things if I was just focusing on, okay, gotta do a Reiki session or I gotta do sacred geometry. I like to open up, and whatever the soul is calling in is what's brought forth. So it's actually the individual following their intuition, their gift, and allowing for the healing to transpire. It's just like a tuning dial, fine tuning it and bringing it forth. So thank you so much, Jacqueline, for having me here today.
Yeah, of course. And for those of you watching, if you haven't heard already, what's coming through is that we're all energy workers, right? We've kind of been on our own journeys and discovered that tapping into your own energy and clearing away the energy that's not yours really helps you to heal your body, triple X your or more your income, attract and become magnetic to the relationships and the life you desire. So I myself work a lot with ancestral energy clearing and EFT and inner child healing and saboteur work. And we love what we do. Absolutely. And that's why we're here. That's why we keep doing these podcasts, just to share more information with you. So today I thought we would really talk about the self-criticism, the mean inner child that we have a good one, a nice one, and then the mean one, right? And sometimes that mean one is louder. And we just had a full moon, and that came with a lot of energy. And it's bringing up a lot of issues for people. Many people are saying that they're more depressed, their anxiety is higher. And even for me, who does a lot of this work, I felt it yesterday. I really felt the intensity and the insecurity of what society and the world is feeling, because energy is energy. We're feeling not just our own, emotions, but we're feeling everybody else's at the same time. And so when it comes to our self-criticism, it can start at any time. Most people have not been raised in a home that talked about these things, talked about our thoughts and beliefs and what's real and what's not. So we started believing all these things we say about ourselves, when in reality, it's not really true. Um, so then how do we overcome it? So first, I'd like to talk about the self-criticism and what happens during that time. What happens? Why do we criticize ourselves? So who would like to start us off? Alana?
Sure. And I want to start off by saying we've got other episodes where we've talked about so many components that are really important and really kind of weave into today's conversation. So if there's any other topics, absolutely go back and listen to those, because every conversation, we're just diving deeper and deeper into truth, and truth is your truth. And that's the piece that I keep recognizing anywhere and everywhere is we all have different truths, and they're all true and they're all real in that moment. And so if I'm going to be in this space of criticizing myself, I am really sensitive energetically, and I'm constantly feeling the world around me. I'm dancing in, is this mine or is it yours? Because I now really understand and know what's kind of happening. But growing up and being in my family, being in the world as a, I guess, functioning member of society, it's just trying to fit in. And so if I see you doing something and I don't do it very well, I'm already in self-judgment. And the reality is, any judgment, even if I'm judging you, I'm actually already judging myself. And that's a concept that we really don't get. And yet it's a very huge spiritual piece, because to even recognize, like, when is self-criticism happening, probably every moment, every thought that comes in, you are already judging yourself, judging someone else. Oh, I should have done it better. Oh, I can't do that. I suck. And so it's the words that we use, it's the language that comes through mentally, and we may not always say it, but you do also. And so if you don't hear it, other people may hear it. This is where you're self-deprecating and you're saying, "Oh, I never get it right. Oh, I'm always making mistakes. I suck." And so recognizing a lot of that already stems from, energetically, you've been in this soup and you didn't know who you were from someone else. All you could see was the physical, and our world looks at things through the lens of achievement. And
Mm.
so, how are you doing? How are you achieving? How are you proving yourself? And this is something I'm still learning to let go of, because if I'm here to actually love and accept myself, then to even have that awareness that I'm shitting all over myself is huge, because then you can catch it and start to realize, okay, why do I do that? And is there something I can reframe? Maybe I can delete it and rephrase it and start to change the belief, start to change the language that we're using.
Brilliant. And you've mentioned so many things. Right off the bat was your thoughts, right? We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And how many of those are positive? How many of those are criticizing and judging ourselves? And how many times are we in the moment where we could say, that's not true. Let me cancel, clear, delete that and change it to something else, right? And yeah, is it my thought or is it somebody else's that I have now taken on? Yeah, absolutely. Sunshine, your thoughts.
Oh, I love this topic. It's such a big topic, and there's so much to share this way. And I think that when the inner critic comes in, um, and that inner talk is the moment I believe we're divine souls here for a human experience. So the moment when we're little, we don't speak English like a language anyways, and we're all vibration, frequency, and energy. So people can be speaking one thing, right? But we're picking up, we don't know what they're speaking. We're picking up the energy being different than that. So I think it all starts when we're small and an untruth about ourselves is told and spoken. So I think that that is when the criticism comes in, right? That's when the critic comes in. And what that is, we can feel very chaotic or stressed or overwhelmed because we have this thing inside of us is the inner talk, right? Like Alana was mentioning, right? You're not good at that. And like, look at them over there, right? Like they got it all. As soon as we start comparing, we're unique divine souls for a reason. It would be pretty boring if we were all the same. We're here to do the same thing as far as, to me, love and heal to evolve, but we're on separate journeys, separate roles on what we're healing and what we're doing. But that inner talk, right, can be, like you said, Jacqueline, right, good and not feel so good. So, a lot of people can relate to it. Well, we got a good angel on our shoulder and the devil on the other hand, right? But so when we think of the devil, we think of bad kind of thing, and we think of doing wrong, and we can be comparing ourselves. We can think we're not good enough, we're not of worth, we're not of value, we don't have those skills. Everybody comes in with unique gifts. We have our intuition that's different than anybody else's intuition. We have our language, the way we speak, the way we grow and expand, that's different than everybody else. But that inner speak is like that human form of us, right? That that inner critic, whatever or like the inner part of you, that inner talk that constantly can put us down if we don't have that awareness, right? Oh, we're tired today, or oh, I did this stupid thing, and it's so untrue, but it's conditioned, it's pounded into us at a very young age for years and years and years. So it's understanding that self-talk that is like that can be that inner critic. And if we have an inner critic that's being not nice to us, but we don't even have the consciousness of that. And then what we're speaking, right? We're putting forward in our words and in our actions, right? Doesn't always line up about that inner critic, or maybe it does. And it's not out of pure love or pure acceptance. It can feel like anger. It can feel like a lashing out. It can feel chaotic. And then, so we have our inner talk, and then we have our thoughts, and then we have our speak. So there's three different things. And if they're all over the place, if we're not truly expressing ourselves on how we really feel with that inner critic, or not even inner critic, but how we really feel, you hurt me, you upset me, you belittled me, and we're not speaking that, right? That's still all inside. And if we speak it, then we're letting it go. But if we don't speak what the problem is and we're lashing out, right? The universe hears things inside of us, and we bring it in our thoughts and we bring it forth as we speak. So that's what's reflected back to us. And it's so distorted and it's so untrue. And how come, and a lot of times we can find, we can help support other people, we can support family members and even if they haven't been so nice to us, and we can come to where we're sharing and we're speaking to a certain degree, not all the truth, but how we're feeling. And then it has to be like pure. It has to be, because that's where the chaos comes, right? If you're always thinking, oh, my life is hell, it's so difficult, it's, that's what's inside. That's what your thought systems are. And that is what you're putting out there, right? And the universe reflects back for you to heal that. So that's where the chaos, that's where the stress, that's where the overwhelm, and it's just a distorted lens, right? And a lot of times it's not even our stuff. So how do we, we'll be discussing, how do we move out of that, right? How do we replace those thoughts? And why, I have one more thing. Why can we help support our loved ones or our friends or a coworker, right? With nice words, loving, kind, but then we can be hard on ourselves, right? And that's where we can start changing the inner critic, is what we give to others outside of ourselves. We can do the same inside of ourselves. But we don't always do that, right? We're really hard on ourselves. And as soon as we judge or compare, right, we're degrading ourselves because we're not that person, right? Nor would we want to be that person, right? But we unconsciously may do that at all moments.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And you bring up a good point that our thoughts become our beliefs, right? And all of this conditioning was when we were a young child, and maybe we were laughed at for some reason, or all of a sudden we were made to feel that me being me wasn't okay in this family, that I was too much or too sensitive or whatever it is. And then we created beliefs about ourselves, and had to become somebody else to fit in, right? And those beliefs over time become really strong. And that's actually what we're creating our lives from. So the real, like the beginning is one, awareness. We've talked about that in the past. Awareness is the very first thing. What are the beliefs that you're telling about yourself, that you're believing about yourself that really aren't true? And then, yes, how to change them. So one is awareness. And then two is learning different techniques or hiring a coach to help shift those beliefs and transform the memory that's in our subconscious. So, Alana, what are your thoughts on that?
I always look at what's even beneath the thoughts. It's the energy that formed. And the thing that's coming up right now is just all the fear. So the fear of not being good enough, or being inadequate or inferior, or a fear of not being smart enough, fear of getting it wrong, being imperfect, fear of not being liked. It's yada,
Mhm.
yada, yada, right? There's a lot. And that fear already was the vibration where the thoughts started to come in, and then maybe even pulled in some emotional energies, and those
Mhm.
got entangled, and now you've formed a belief. And that belief has also seated itself in the body, and it's learned to react in a certain way. And so there's a lot. This is why sometimes we're on this journey. It's like, shit, where do I start?
You know, healing is not always a DIY project, right?
Yeah, and again, it comes back to that judgment piece. Like, we're already judging ourselves for
Mhm.
thinking our journey should have been different. The
Yeah.
reality is, your journey is beautifully, perfectly imperfect the way it was supposed to be, to kind of slingshot you in this one direction, or, like kind of pull back like an arrow and then release in a whole new direction. So when you have this awareness that, man, I really am speaking terribly to myself. Why do I do that? And when you can even just start writing it down. What are the common things that you say? And then to really connect inward in the body, you can start to see, okay, what am I saying? That's already going to help you connect into the thoughts which are forming those beliefs. But then even deeper, what do you feel in your body? What emotion is there? Is there some sort of energy that really is like, there's a sadness, there's loneliness, there's even that energy, like maybe it was a fear of not being seen, and having some sort of belief that nobody cares what I do and nobody loves me. Like now you're starting to go into, wow, that there was visibility, but then there was lovability. And now how does that make me feel? I feel lonely. I feel like I don't have anyone. And so where in your body do you feel that? So you can keep going into it, because once you connect to it, the part that we tend to not always do is integrate and love and connect and accept that part, because this is not a cancer that you cut out of you and think it's going to just magically be gone. It is a part of you that has been seeking for you to see it, because it was here to help you on your journey. And when you can love it and actually see it as that newborn infant, like it just wanted attention, it just wanted love, it did like you, the very thing that you're seeking, we tend to not do for ourselves. So if you're feeling lonely, it's because this part of you has been, just ignored. And so when you can start to love it and integrate it and realize it's been there, then it doesn't it doesn't have the same flair and charge. It doesn't trigger you, and you actually don't need it as much, because you realize, wow, I could give this to myself this entire time. And if I've been criticizing myself, that was just the reflection that I needed to go in another direction to love and accept myself.
Yeah. Beautiful. Oh my God, so much great insight. Um, Sunshine, what are your thoughts coming up?
Oh, I would love what you're both sharing. And yeah, we don't always consciously think of it, but we can have a situation, right, that may have um, we haven't, our soul's been through it, but we haven't connected it humanly, right? So it's kind of replaying and taking our energy way back from like that inner child to be healed. But a conversation that I had a few weeks ago with somebody, they shared with me that, they were on a baseball team when they were young, I don't know, say 11 or 12, and they were about to win the tournament, right? And they got up to bat and they lost because, they didn't hit the ball, right? They've never played a sport ever since,
Mhm.
right? They're in their 80s. So
Mhm.
that's that inner critic, right? That's that, like being really hard, thinking, oh my goodness, I didn't just let myself down. I let the whole team. I never want to be put into that situation again. But in life, those situations in different ways have been, showing up and everything, right? For all of those years. So that's just an example as we were talking that came to memory. And Elena, I love how what you were sharing and to talk, to speak to that body, right? Because it is where energy and feelings, like you're talking about, emotions, Elena, are absolutely incredible things. They're lessons and treasures and gifts to, and all they desire is to be recognized, to be accepted, to be allowed to feel this way, and then moved out, right? And if not, our body gets clogged up because it overflows. And our feelings, we have over 500 a day, right? You were talking about thoughts, Jacqueline. We can't be aware of each thought. We can't feel over 500 feeling, but we can go in and you know, Alana, you mentioned fear. What fear is in us today? How can we clear that up? There's so many people, it seems like there's so many surgeries happening right now, right? Like there just seems like a lot of surgeries. So
Yeah.
when you think of surgeries, right, automatically what comes up is fear, right? I'm going to be whatever it's called, sedated. Is that the
Mhm.
word? Sedated?
Yeah.
Yes. Sedated. I'm going to be put under. Am I going to come back? Am I going to die? Like that automatically all comes in, right? Are they going to do it right? Can I trust the surgeons? What if something goes wrong? Like that's automatically where we go. But even if we bring that up, right? And we think, oh, say we're speaking that to people. Oh, I'm just so nervous. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making the right decision. And we're getting all in, and it takes so much life force and energy to get all into there like that. But at the same time, we know there's no question we're moving forward in a way with it, but we have all this fear about it. All that life force and all that energy that we just used, talk to your body. right? And say, and prepare your body. We're going into, I don't know, we're going into, what would we be going into? Say something that was a gallbladder. We're going in, we need our gallbladder removed. I'll give you an example. Years ago, I had just turned 40 and I had healed my gallstones that would flare up all the time, but I still get really bad pain. All the women in our family don't have the gallbladder. So I was actually hospitalized for 10 days. So this is an example. This is where I had learned and personally experienced it. And my gallbladder looked okay to everybody, but it wasn't good. I was in severe pain in the hospital 10 days. So I remember going into the spiritual whatever and just meditating and talking to spirit. And I was nervous to let my gallbladder go because of the work I do. I believe that it filtered other people's stuff. And then how am I going to use it afterwards, right? And it's an organ. But organs have spirit, right? After they leave, the organ is physical, but there's still the spirit of the gallbladder. So as soon as I calmed down and I listened to spirit, right, and I was able to talk to my body and talk to my gallbladder, this is what's happening, right? I love you very much. They're going to go in and do da 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 da. How do you feel? Or starting off, how do you feel right now, gallbladder? I'm angry. I'm pissed off, right? Like I'm erratic. I'm flared right up. Okay, so what can I do, right? And so once I started communicating with the body that way, I literally went back to my room. The surgery was scheduled, and it was so much better. But we get in a dither about something, and we, just feed and feed and feed that vibration of being in that fear, being in that, instead of the communication with the body, right? We're going in for a mammogram. Why not communicate to the breasts? Okay, we're going to have this done, right? We're going to be like a pancake, but it's okay, right? Like it will poof back up again and it's just a procedure. Then that way your body does so much for you in a day that it's prepared. You can communicate. What do you need? Give it more love, right? If you have a knee that just pounds and hurts you every day, it's screaming, it's yelling at you. But say it doesn't hurt until nighttime because you haven't paid attention all day. You've just been go, 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 go. And then it screams and it yells and it carries on at night. Well, what does that knee need from you? What is it desiring, right? That can change so much up. But we go into that inner critic and just being like kind of thing. And it takes so much life force and energy and a lot less to have the communication with ourselves inside. So I just thought I would mention and talk about that because that's where I was getting channeled to speak about.
Yeah, so true. So these are things that people haven't heard before, right? What do you mean I can talk to my body? What do you mean my body has messages for me? Because I think in our healthcare system in the United States, our power has been taken away, right? You can't heal yourself. Even some religions believe that you need God to heal you or need something outside of you to heal you. And yet, this is really true healing, right? True self-compassion. When we have compassion for ourselves and put ourselves first, there's nothing selfish about it. We need to refuel our bodies and our energy so that we can take care of all the people we're here to take care of. So much great insight. Um, and yeah, we've shared so many ideas of what can we do, right? When you start to begin to realize that you're criticizing yourself. First, it's awareness. Write things down. You can journal all your beliefs and decide, do you want to keep holding on to that belief? You can discover what's your body feeling, right? Get in touch on a daily, minute by minute basis. What am I really feeling? Am I pushing through because I'm too busy and I'll take too much time? When in reality, if you just take a few minutes, talk to your body. Okay, low back, what do you need? Where have I not supported myself? When actually your body will give you more energy when you do that. And the pain could actually go away. Um, and then embody the new belief, the new thoughts. So what if we go around and share some even more? What's your favorite tool when you find that you found yourself in this self-criticism? And those are the what I call the glasses that you're living your life through. What are your best solutions, Elena?
I work on being present, and being present meaning in that moment, I'm attuning to all that is happening. And to be present, it's that part of us that can easily go out to another place. And to me, that's where we already start to really beat ourselves up and criticize, is you're already going to have the thought. But when you're present, you're fully just in the body, in the now. And I practice a technique called HAR. I think I've mentioned it before. It's in our energy medicine solution book that we're all in. And I have a free resource for my chapter that you can get the download to have the steps to really practice and be in Hara. And it's allowing yourself to quiet the mind and also the body, the emotional reactions. And so the thing that when we're not fully present, we just say things without thinking. We just act without really stopping to go, what am I doing? And when we're present is when you start to even notice the thought. So maybe uh, something is said, right? There's already some other energy. And again, that to me, that's the biggest piece is when you're with other people, they can trigger you like, I mean, that's
Nobody's business.
exactly. And honestly, that's the gift of relationships. And I say relationship in the sense that it's not just with your family and your friends and the people you choose to be in relationship with. It's even the stranger in the store that cuts you off or the driver in the street that cuts you off. And you're like, well, you're in relationship with that person. They did something that you needed. And that might sound crazy, but if you're not present, you're just going to react. And then you're going to go into, if you normally blame yourself, it's easy for you to start to blame others. So being present, you can already start to feel, let's just say, feel your body or your energy start to react. And now you can see, like, I'm getting mad. Why am I getting mad? Am I in a hurry? And you can start to like come back to your reality of what's going on. Maybe you were in a hurry and you're upset this person just cut you off because you needed to get there a second faster. And that's when you start to see kind of the humor of life and that we take ourselves so seriously and that we really get upset for no reason other than it's been really kind of programmed within you. And
Yeah.
until you start to be in that present space to even recognize what programs are running. And I'm saying this word because it's a trigger more and more for me that I see it in everybody's business and everything. It's like there's a program. Well, yeah, because it's mind controlling you or it's like impacting you in such a big way. And that's really how our body operates. So whether it's a habit or it's a routine, the things that we value, what program are you running that is actually keeping you from being present? Because when you can step away from how you've been operating, so you're not just the robot going through the motions, now you're going to notice the thought. Now you're going to have that ability to even ask yourself, is this true? Is this the belief I want to continue to have? And even if you're like, I don't want that, but I don't know what to do, you can still just reframe it. If you're like, oh my God, I suck. You don't have to reframe it to I don't suck, but what would you want on the other side of it? That I'm getting better every day. I'm still learning and growing every experience that I go through, right? That is a completely different way of looking at life rather than just saying, oh, well, I'm never going to play a sport again because I screwed up here. Instead, that one thing happened, but how can I improve? Where can I get better? And you start to draw in the experiences that are going to allow you to see if you're going to change your thoughts, change that you're just even present and having that awareness and noticing the emotions that have gotten entangled in it. So for me, that really is the gift that keeps on giving, because you can only live in this moment. And if you're not here, where the heck are you? And it's either in the past or the future, and that doesn't help anybody.
Exactly. And these programs, we've been programmed and conditioned from our family, our caregivers to be a certain way. And whatever your ancestors, your generation passed down, you're programmed. We're like computers, right? And this is a way of
God.
rebooting our inner computer to finally decide, well, how do I feel about that?
Yeah.
I,
And
I
I
don't,
love that.
right?
It's like the, because that takes me to what would presence be? That would mean all of the programs, all of the running systems, you're closing down, and let's just say, or maybe they're minimized and you're on the home screen and you're just here.
Mm,
But the moment that bloop, you're like, what's going on? Why is this program opening the window? Why is it showing up? That is your thought jumping in. That is your
yeah.
emotion jumping in. And when you can go, nope,
Nope.
minimize and come back to this like plain screen, that's what presence is. You're
Yeah.
just clearing all of that away.
Yeah. And then you're deciding which programs you want to step into. I want to
Yes, you
step into
choose.
abundance, ease, flow, and
Mhm.
abundance. Like I'm all over that. Um, yeah, love it. And yeah, being present is really where it's at because either you're in the past or you're somewhere else in some other realm, some other reality that's not real. Sunshine?
Oh, we just go deeper and deeper now, don't we? So, yes, I would like to go back a bit in a moment and talk about, yes, what tool to use. But Alana, what you're sharing about the present moment and what you just mentioned, Jacqueline, about like think of it as a computer and programming, right? There's some things that we could be doing that we don't like, that we shut right down. It's not us, but we don't do that in our bodies and systems. So we're just talking about a computer. And computers, they get defragmented, right? Um, and we got to go in and fragment them so the system runs better. And that's how our bodies and systems are. Because there's pieces of us out there, and there's pieces of us out there wanting to be healed and out there, and we constantly get triggered. And I'd like to talk about a personal trigger that happened to me last week. But so we're divine souls here having a human experience. If that resonates or aligns, or you can take a little bit about that. But out off of the computer, we have an iCloud, right? Something that holds everything that we're experiencing, that everything that we've been through. So that's what past life is like, right? We have a Mondi, we have an Oversoul, we have those Acharkic records, right? So being in the present moment, what Alana is sharing, we can actually take what we're experiencing with us, right? If we're not grounded and in the present moment and kind of out there, we can't take that up into our life oversoul experience because it just goes and kind of lingers. But if we're experiencing it and in the present moment, then it does go up into that collective eventually. And Alana, you were mentioning, right? We can get frustrated and stuff because of traffic and we're going to be a minute late and stuff. Everything is so divinely timed and interconnected and interweaved. Maybe we're sitting there because there would have been an accident if we weren't there, right? Everything is for a reason at all moments. And when we have that perception and when we have that consciousness, everything has more love, ease, and grace to it, and everything has more flow. And it's part of being in that moment. So I'm just going to take a moment and talk about. I was at a session last week exercising my body. And I remember the therapist I was working with was like, why are you holding your hand like that? Right? I have cerebral palsy. We're working on my feet. And so I'm working. I have to have a lot of focus, like what we're talking about, right? when we're on different screens on the computer, we're focusing on one thing. We might have to go back and forth, but we're still, okay, we change screens, we're focusing on that. I'm like that when I work with, move my body and when I speak, and also too when I walk or pick up anything. So I'm focusing on my feet because I'm doing this exercise. And she's like, well, what's wrong with your hand? Why are you holding it? So this is a professional. So I look at my hand and it's doing its own thing. I'm not focusing on it. That's just how I am. I got triggered, right? I'm in the present moment. I'm focusing, getting my body to move, and then she's triggering. So I remember thinking, this is actually happening. Okay, why is this happening? Where is she coming from, right? And so just, listening to her and, why is it like that? And why do you put it like that? So instead of thinking, okay, she's focused on my hand just does whatever it does if I'm not concentrating on it. I looked at the gift in that right there in that moment, right? Once I realized I was triggered, I'm triggered. Why am I triggered? Right? And then I was able to process. She was saying, well, if your hand's like that, do the opposite thing to it, right? So I looked at it as a gift being given to me. Well, okay, well, pay attention. Obviously, I'm not paying attention to my hand, but when I am, and if it's not how the normalcy is, then move it the opposite way. So that's just an example of how we can get triggered. We can go into that inner critic in that self-talk. We can go into um, a defensiveness, right? Which is anger. So I could have easily did that. I could have walked out. I could have been like, you're awfully young. What do you do? Do you have any knowledge about CP? I could have verbally attacked, right? I would have been using my life force. I don't know when my life force is going to end. So I'm very picky and choosy of what I choose to put my life force into and my energy, right? And I got the gold nugget in all of that instead of lashing out, instead of, having that anger or frustration or whatever might have happened. Just like the consciousness when you are going to be late. So what if you have to reschedule? So what if you arrived safely? Where's the gratitude in that? You're right where you need to be at all moments. So what I wanted to mention too is if we start paying attention as far as a tool of that inner talk, what am I saying inside of myself, right? Like what am I, and then if we can write it down, and if we don't like the smell of it, right, the stinkiness of it, or we're wondering where it came from, we have the empowerment to change that, right? How I'm the black sheep, nobody understands me, right? Why not think I'm a divine, unique soul that's contributing to the universe? Everything I do and say is going to make a difference, right? It's like a CD that plays in our head or a record, right? And we don't even consciously know of that. So when we bring that to our consciousness, we can start to understand, I don't want to muck around in this. This is like dirty. I don't want to put energy into it. This is so untrue. I wouldn't say this to anybody else. So why is that inside of me? Right? That awareness has to come inside. And then everything on the outside starts to ripple. So, like Jacqueline said, start paying attention to what's inside. What are you feeling? And yeah, it's a commitment. And it's damn worth that commitment, right? To continue to grow. And just to take, we do upon others all day long. So why not start changing that CD, playing that music inside that we would desire for everybody else, but we don't stop to do it for ourselves, right? We can constantly give ourselves rewards, celebrations, gifts, but most of the time we don't have any energy left to do that, or there's not enough time because society has conditioned us to be so busy, to be on that merry-go-round and it's spinning so fast, to take away our empowerment so we don't start with the most empowering person here on the earth, right? And our experiences that we have.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you both for all this information, so much insight. So if you're listening, watching, we'd love to hear what's coming up for you and how we can help and support you even more. Just reach out, share this, invite other people who are having a hard time for some a little bit of education and some ideas of what they can do today to be more grounded, to really start putting themselves first because you matter, and be a little selfish. So thank you so much for watching. We're glad you're here and have a great day. Bye.